treat for me to come from LA, you know, which has a lot of really professional recording studios, to go to Toronto into this world-class studio. I mean, I was shocked. I really wasn't expecting this. A lot of times when you fly places to produce other bands, and I've done that several times, you're in somebody's kind of garage demo studio, and that's fine, you can work with that. But the place that we recorded it at was world class. It was unbelievable.
When James and I were searching out recording studios, we hit about 5 or 6 around town. And they're all really good, you know, they all had their advantages and disadvantages. But when we walked into Canterbury Music, it had this big live room, which was important for us. We wanted to be able to play off the floor.
Had a real sort of old school studio vibe with the large room, so we can get that, RCA kind of vintage sort of feel. But at the same time, it never felt like we were in a big studio. It just felt like we were all sort of hanging out and making music.
The guy, Jeremy, that worked there, had all these stories about, well, I won't go into his stories. They all involved, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but he had stories that would last for days.
I was really impressed. He'd worked with some of my favorite bands from the 70s, 80s, like, Elvis Costello and Squeeze and Joe Jackson. And then even before that, he'd worked with
Keith Richards, Tom Waits, Pink Floyd, U2, two, jazz bands in Toronto, and a lot of people we know.
This is the guy who did sound for Live Aid, which, as far as I'm concerned, is probably the biggest live concert television event in the history of the world.
And what a great engineer, man. Just the whole experience was just a joy. It's like, hey, let's throw up this Neumann U47 here, no problem. Let's try 3 or 4 different things here, and man, he was just a total pro.